Hello and welcome to I24 News Sports Weekend Edition with some of the best stories from the past 7 days in the world of sports. It was an exciting week with many interesting events and many stars shining. Motorsports took central stage with big races and big winners in Formula 1 and MotoGP. It was also the week of the Golf Masters with a surprising top spot, and a crazy man finished his crazy adventure, 100 marathons in 100 days. Michael Friedman looks back at the stars of the week.
With phenomenal performances in the world of sport, many competitors displayed their abilities. So choose between Lewis Hamilton, Marc Marquez, Jordan Spieth, or Darren Wendell for your favorite athlete of the week. Lewis Hamilton was looking to bounce back and reassert his dominance after losing to Sebastian Vettel in the Malaysian Grand Prix. The Mercedes driver came into the Chinese Grand Prix with his eye on the prize, and once again he would prove to be the best driver in Shanghai. This is the Englishman's second win of the first 3 races and extended his lead at the top of the championship standings. Hamilton took his 35th career win, and what better way to celebrate than splashing a bottle of champagne all around. With more fast-paced racing, MotoGP displayed another exciting race in Austin, Texas. After a disappointing 5th-place finish in the season-opening race in Qatar, Marc Marquez was looking to rebound and seek his first win of the new season. The 22-year-old Spaniard fought hard and rode with speed to come in first. The 2-time world champion has now won 3 consecutive years in Austin. It was all celebrations for the Honda driver as he lifted the trophy. Staying in America, the Golf Masters took place in Augusta, Georgia with the best golfers in the world. Young gun Jordan Spieth was ice cool throughout the tournament, hitting some beautiful shots on the green. The 21-year-old American added his name in golf's record books with an amazing down-to-the-wire victory. It was all smiles for Spieth as he put on the iconic green jacket. And we finish in New York City, where Darren Wendell's very long-distance run came to an end in Times Square. The man ran 100 marathons in 100 days to raise money and awareness for the Run Darren Run campaign, whose initiative is to provide clean water in parts of Africa. Wendell used 30 pairs of running shoes during the challenge, which left many holes in his sneakers. He received a big hug and kiss from his wife after the final marathon, along with plenty more support for the runner. Each of these athletes were impressive in their own sport. Whether you liked Lewis Hamilton, who won the Chinese Grand Prix, Marc Marquez, who took the MotoGP title, Jordan Spieth winning the Masters, or Darren Wendell, who completed 100 marathons in 100 days. So you decide your favorite athlete of the week.
And Michael is here with us in the studio. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
So let's start by talking about Lewis Hamilton. Very, very important this was for him.
Yes.
After Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari, they gave their sentence last time in Malaysia.
Yes.
Now Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton wanted to make it sure this is our field.
This is a statement. He needed to come back. He won the first race, lost, in Malaysia against Vettel, and this was his moment to say, I'm the champion. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to be the best. It shows why Mercedes is at a league of their own. Him and Rosberg, they're just doing phenomenal. The two of them together. So it was great for them. It was exciting to the wire once again. But Hamilton, he's at a league of his own. He's incredible.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw that last year as well. Still on motorsports. This time to 2 wheels. And if it was important for Hamilton to make a statement, for Marc Marquez, it was even bigger after that 5th place in Qatar. He had to show he's still the man.
I mean, Marc Marquez, he won it last year. He was 22. He's so young. And it's so impressive what he accomplished last year. And he wanted the same thing, to make a statement. And coming in 5th in his last race was very embarrassing for him. And he really needed this. So it was definitely a motivation. And he rode so well. Right now, he's just in 3rd place behind Rossi and Dovizioso. Just, a couple points behind. But it's a long series, a long races ahead.
Yeah,
so.
and of course, after winning the second race, if he let Rossi win again, open a big gap, that could be a problem. Now it's better for him. Now, of course, Marquez and Hamilton, they're the stars, but they have a big team surrounding them. Darren Wendell has nobody. I thought of Forrest Gump when I saw him, just running and running 100 marathons. I can't even run one.
Well, I know personally I can't run one. You together, we have no chance. So
Together, maybe we can combine for one.
Maybe and make one if we're lucky. So what this guy is doing, they're calling him the modern day Forrest Gump. It's scary. I don't even understand how that's even possible. He went across the U.S. and he came with, broken toenails, broken shoes. It's phenomenal. It's something, you have athletes at elite levels accomplish greatness, and then you have just modern day, guys, just you and me. Well, maybe not you and me, but some other guys that are able to accomplish something really remarkable.
Yeah, and it's for a good cause, which is always important. Michael Friedman, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
The Copa America, South America's football competition, the oldest tournament in the world, will take place this coming June. Argentina may be one of the strongest teams in the continent, but they have last won the prestigious trophy more than 20 years ago in 1993. As always, all eyes at the Albiceleste squad will be looking at Leo Messi to lead them to success this time around, but Argentina may depend on another player, one that grew up in the small club called El Torito.
When First Division club Rosario Central decided to buy the then unknown Angel Di Maria, he was playing for local club Torito. The budding footballer was only 7 years old, and the transfer cost far less than the $89 million that Manchester United paid for the player in 2014.
We don't charge the same as Barcelona, but the exchange was worthwhile. Rosario Central gave us 20 soccer balls. At that time, it was a good deal.
Angelito, as he's affectionately known, was born in a working-class neighborhood in Rosario, Argentina's third biggest city. His parents worked at a local coal yard, and his mother would cycle 10 kilometers every day to take her son to football practice. Marcelo Trevisono, who coaches 16-year-old Di Maria, remembers a quiet kid who would come into his own on the pitch. And his progression through the club levels was meteoric.
A normal kid has to go through 6th, 5th and 4th division, then through the reserve team and then in 1st division. But he did it in 1 year, actually in 10 months.
Wenger Di Maria joined the Argentine national team in 2008, aged 20. His performance in the 2014 World Cup was praised, but he missed the final due to an injury. An absence that die-hard fans, including a caretaker at his former primary school, blame for Argentina's defeat against Germany.
He plays so well and he has so much courage. In my opinion, had he played in the final, we would have been champions. For me, it was Di Maria that was missing.
Despite sitting out on the final, Di Maria made sure that 20 of his childhood friends got tickets to the game. One of the reasons for his huge popularity back in his hometown, where everyone hopes he will one day move back and play for Rosario Central again.
Now it's time to look at the NBA, and after all the teams played their 82 regular season matches, it's playoff time. The postseason begins on Saturday with some very exciting matchups as early as the first round. 16 teams are up, but only one will be the champion. Michael Friedman gives us all the information we need to be ready for the playoffs.
The NBA regular season finished with teams fighting until the last day to make it into the playoffs. The long and exciting road towards the NBA championship will be bringing some exciting matchups. Big-name players such as LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Blake Griffin will be looking to show their dominance and set themselves apart from the all-time greats. Beginning in the East, the conference playoff matchups feature the number 1 seed Atlanta Hawks versus the 8th seeded Brooklyn Nets, the 2nd seeded Cleveland Cavaliers against the number 7 Boston Celtics, the Chicago Bulls versus the Milwaukee Bucks, and finally the Toronto Raptors against the Washington Wizards. The Eastern Conference has been dominated this season by the Atlanta Hawks, who's hoping to make history this year. The Hawks have spent 46 years in Atlanta and never reached the conference finals. The team finished the regular season with 60 wins and 22 losses and will now take on the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets were very happy to clinch the 8th spot after winning their final game along with the help of the Memphis Grizzlies, knocking out the Indiana Pacers. Despite all the efforts by Paul George, who returned from injury, it wasn't enough to lift his team to the playoffs. The second team in the East will be showcasing one of the biggest superstars in the league. LeBron James came back from Miami to Cleveland in hopes of capturing a championship ring with his first love. The Cavaliers, under Israeli coach David Blatt, will take on the Boston Celtics in the 2-7 showdown. The season series between the two teams was tied at 2 games apiece, and the Celtics will be looking to surprise the Cavs. And moving to the West, some exciting games include the #1 seed Golden State Warriors versus the 8th seeded New Orleans Pelicans, the #2 seed Houston Rockets versus the 7th seeded Dallas Mavericks, the LA Clippers against the San Antonio Spurs, and finally the Portland Trail Blazers against the Memphis Grizzlies. Golden State has the best record in the league, finishing the season with an impressive 67-15 record, which means they will enjoy home court advantage all the way. The top team featured elite three-point shooters like Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. It will be a tough battle ahead for the Pelicans, who clinched their playoff berth for the first time since 2011 after beating the San Antonio Spurs in the last game of the season. Anthony Davis has been the leading man for this New Orleans team. Another exciting battle will premiere the Los Angeles Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs. The 2014 NBA defending champions have struggled more this season, but with all-star players such as Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, anything can happen. As the Spurs take on the Clippers, the talented Blake Griffin will surely be the go-to man if the LA team hopes to make a run in the playoffs. The battle for supremacy will be a long and exciting battle for basketball fans around the world to watch. So who will win the 2015 NBA championship? Only time will tell.
And with me here is the man who will not get much sleep from now until sometime in June, Danny Swibel. I hope you got a good rest this past week.
I'm trying,
Because
yeah.
forget about that from now on.
That's right. I'm going bananas. You know how I go bananas at playoff
Yeah,
time.
and you should. Usually, this is where we speak of the #1 seeds. I'll do something different. I want to speak about the Clippers against the Spurs. I cannot find a favorite here. We have Blake Griffin and Chris Paul on one side, the veteran guys who just refuse to get old. Are there any favorites here?
I mean, this is the sickest first-round matchup to me. And we know the first round, and it could go either way, especially with these two Titans. I just feel bad for the Spurs because they finished the season winning 21 of their final 25 games, but losing that last game of the season instead of finishing second seed, they're now 6th
Yeah, they had a lot to play for that last game.
And they're not even at home now, so it is going to be a battle of the Titans. Clippers perhaps have the best starting five. Blake Griffin plays his best games against the Spurs, especially this season. CP3, assist leader, Jordan rebounding crown. So it's going to be a tough series, but again, Spurs defending champions. They are considered maybe one of the best Spurs teams since the 2003 team with David Robinson, with Kawhi Leonard. So I think Spurs could take it to them.
What a dynasty that is for the Spurs. Still in the West, Golden State 67-15. That is a very, very good record. And when you have these two guys outside, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, they can kill you from outside, literally.
Oh, these guys are brutal. The Splash Brothers are absolutely brutal, and they make it so easy. I mean, really, defenses cannot stop them. And actually, they're only the 10th team in the 7th franchise in league history to reach 67 wins, which is really impressive. I mean, that's up there with the 72-10 Bulls. I mean, that's quite a feat. They are just going to be ridiculous. 39-2 at home, and they have home court advantage pretty much throughout the playoffs, so they are going to be tough to be taken down.
But will they enjoy it? Can they take this? Because they'll enjoy home court advantage all the way. Will they enjoy it in the Western Conference Finals? In the finals, perhaps?
I could see them taking it to the distance. I mean, they were a little heartbroken about last year's loss because they were hot last year and they took it to, I believe, 7 games. This New Orleans team is tough because they've fought back the last 2 or 3 weeks to even make it to playoffs, which they kept out Westbrook and OKC, which is very lucky for Golden State Warriors. So I could definitely see it being a nice series, but with Steve Kerr, the coach, with his playoff experience as a player and now as a coach, I could see Golden State taking it pretty darn far.
Now, we can ask pretty much the same question about Atlanta in the East. They have a home record advantage all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Will they be there? Because and then again, if they get there, it's probably Cleveland or Chicago. Can they handle that?
I don't know. This Atlanta team, you know, they've rested a lot of their starters over the past few weeks, but they definitely haven't gelled when they have been playing. So they've been only about 500. They have recently had some problems. There was some fighting going on.
They're not as strong as they were, say, a month or two ago.
Yeah, so you want to go into the playoffs with momentum, getting to the second round, perhaps playing Washington, a team that really plays well in playoffs. The Bulls are happy to not have to face them first round. But then with Cleveland up there, with the Bulls team healthy, with D Rose back and Jimmy Butler doing what he does, Pau Gasol, it's going to be tough, I feel, for Atlanta to take it to the finals.
You mentioned Cleveland. No matter how we look at it, a team with LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, That's your big favorite in the East, even if they face Atlanta without their home court advantage.
Absolutely. It's a ridiculous starting five. J.R. Smith and Love, we haven't even mentioned him. Cleveland is going to be tough. LeBron is considered maybe one of the greatest of all time as of now, and he still has a lot of playing ahead of him, and he's definitely going to be trying to get to the finals like he does most years he plays.
Well, he has been in the finals for the past 4 years in Miami.
It's going to be tough. I could definitely see, the favorites, Golden State with the West. I could see Cleveland in the East, perhaps for finals. But of course, I want the Bulls to make it up there, give them a fight.
I want
to
the
see
Celtics
Atlanta
to make it. So what?
Hey, they're in there, so there's a possibility there. They're a young, hot team, so that anything's possible in the playoffs. As we saw last year, first round was crazy.
Yeah, so a lot to look for starting this Saturday. Danny Swayabel, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
And that's it for this weekend edition. Don't forget you can watch this and every other show on our website at i24news.tv. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.